My name is Self. In this video, I've called it How to Make a Slave. I'm going to go step by step and explain how do you put somebody under complete mind control and make them a slave. Because that's all that I'm seeing around here and in my own life. It's slavery and mind control. Number one, you have to go towards the children. You got to get them at a young age. You got to start programming these children at a young age. So you take the child and you bring them to church. This is step number one. You have to bring the child to church. Get them roped up in religion. So you take the Bible and you present it to the child as reality. This is actually a fairy tale. It's not real. It never really happened, and it's based upon astrology. But because of the Catholic Church and the influence that they have, we're going to bring the children to the church, and we're going to teach them that you need to obey the laws of God. And if you don't obey this book and this system, then you're going to go to a physical hell and you're going to burn there. And these children are going to be thinking, well, I better get with this program or I'm going to go to hell when I die. And my parents, they must be right because they're in this system. They're going to this church. So you want to use fear. You want to teach the kids that you need to believe this system. You need to go to this church and believe this religion. And if they don't, they're going to go to hell. And you could die at any moment. So you better get with the program or you're going to burn forever. So this fear puts the child into a mindset where he has to obey and go to the religion and submit himself. So we're going to teach them at the church to not trust in yourself, but to externalize all your power. Because we want the child to be a slave. We want this child to trust. So we don't want this child believing in himself. We want him to externalize all his power and give it to somebody else. So we need to tell him to trust in Jesus. You have to trust in God. And if you don't, you're going to hell when you die. And the Jesus that we want him to trust in is actually the slave master. We want him to trust in the zookeeper and then not believe in himself. Remember? We want the child to externalize all his power and give it to somebody else. So the kid can be praying, Jesus, please help me with this. Please help me with that. I need to slow down. I can't be walking this fast. So the child is trusting in Jesus. And Jesus is actually just a metaphor for the zookeeper, for the slave master, to somebody else, just to take all the power away from him. Then you want to send the child to a school system, a public school system that teaches them the wrong information. We don't want to teach the child how to be self-sufficient, how to build his own shelter. We don't want to teach the child to build his own shelter. We don't want to teach the child how to grow his own food. We don't want to teach the child how to harness his own water and to get clean water. So we're going to teach them the wrong information throughout this indoctrination process. So the child gets up every day at a certain time, and the bus comes and picks them up and takes them to this school that teaches them the wrong information. It would be great if the school system taught the child how to build his own shelter, grow his own food, and get his own clean water. But the reason why this is not taught is because these elements are in the hands of the zookeeper. It is in the hands of the slave master. All these people in this neighborhood, they can't get their own food. They can't get their own water. That's why it's at Jewel. And then in order to get that, they need to work for their greenbacks, for the paper money, the paper monopoly play money. Because this is the goal. You want to put the child, when he grows up, you want to put him in a slave job and get him working for these elements that are in the hands of the zookeeper. Because we're living in a zoo right now. Then you want to bring the kid to the barber and teach them that it's normal to cut your hair. Because you want to shave the slave's head. You don't want the slaves to have any hair, because the secret is that there's power in your hair. There's zinc and there's copper, and this connects to the sun, and this is going to increase their intuition and their common sense. But if you want to have complete mind control over them, it's more beneficial to shave their head. So that's why they shave the heads of the Jews, of the slaves. When you join the army, they shave your head. They teach you at a young age to go to the barber and get your hair cut. And I got a video when I was young, getting my hair cut. I'm just crying. I'm just crying. Because you know that there's something wrong. The children know. But they're brought up into the zoo. And you want them to be taught that getting your hair cut is normal, because we don't want anybody looking like a real human being and growing their hair, because then they're going to have power, and that's the last thing we want. We want to have them under complete mind control. So number one, you bring them to the church, you teach them to externalize all their power and to give it to Jesus, and Jesus is actually the slave master, the pimp, the zookeeper. Then you want to bring him to the public school and you teach him the wrong information throughout his days. You don't want to teach the child how to grow his own food, to build his own shelter, and to get clean water. Then you want to indoctrinate the child. Just teach him the wrong information throughout his whole entire school system. And the bus picks him up at the same time every day and forces him to go to this building where he just gets all this indoctrination. Then we teach him that getting your hair cut is normal because there's zinc and copper in your hair that connects to the universe, and you're going to have better intuition and common sense if you keep your hair. But we want to shave all the slaves' hair off because we don't want them to have any power at all. Then when the child grows up and gets to high school, hopefully, we're hoping that he starts drinking and he starts smoking marijuana, because we want to be able, when he gets a job, we want to take every penny that he has so he's not able to save anything. So hopefully the child starts drinking with his friends, and his parents are slaves and they're not happy the life they're living. So they're going to be arguing, and then the child's going to fall into a depression, meet some friends, start drinking. Hopefully the child gets hooked on alcohol. Then we're going to give him a work permit so he can get a job when he's 16. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So here and there, he gets drunk with his friends. And hopefully when he gets older, he grows a dependency on alcohol. Because we want to take every penny that he has. Then you keep on promoting a message that, well, in order to be successful, you have to go to college. You have to go to college to be successful. Because we want to make them a teacher, and we want to take the women and make them a nurse. Let's backtrack a little bit. You get the kids hooked on the wrong food. Food that'll make them sick. So then when they get older, they can go see a nurse. They can go see a doctor. So you bring them into the lunchroom and you give them a little packet of milk. And milk should not even be in the human body. Watch the movie, What the Health? The science is in, it is all in that movie, What the Health? Human beings are primates. We have the same stomach as a primate. Even our mouth chews up and down. We're exposed to eat fruit. We are fruitarians. The reason why everybody is sick and they're dying and they have cancer and all this disease is because they're eating the wrong food. But we teach the child that you drink milk, you eat cheeseburgers. We're going to serve them cheeseburgers and cheesy things, and then put all this dairy into their body. So we bring them up eating animal meat. And this is what is going to get them sick later down the line. So then, when he gets older, we want him to go to college and either become a teacher so he can keep this cycle going, teaching the wrong information, because throughout his whole entire schooling, we didn't teach him how to harness the elements, how to build his own shelter, how to grow his own food, how to harness his own clean water. So the teachers taught him the wrong information. Gotta tie my shoe. Teachers are teaching the wrong information. But then when he goes to college, we want him to become a teacher and then keep this process going. So we put him in the zoo, in an artificial world. We tell him, well, life is just about making money. You gotta make the money. The women are gonna be nurses. The men, doctors, and the men can be doctors, they can be teachers. And the doctors can give people medication because they've been eating the wrong food throughout their whole entire life. But you need to put this shit in the child's mind when he's young, so he grows up and he doesn't know what to do. So he's eating the wrong food. Hopefully he gets hooked on alcohol. And if he drops out of college, well, then we can have him flipping cheeseburgers. At least he's doing something. At least he's destroying the earth. At least we keep him in slavery, and we taught him his whole entire life that the only thing that matters is making money. But the main underlying source is teaching him the wrong information his whole entire life. You didn't teach him how to build his own shelter. So when it rains, he doesn't get wet. I'm in a shitty environment right now. It's cold as fuck. No one should be living out here. Every human being is meant to live between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. You get the most sunlight you can get, all the sunlight, all the clean air, the food is free. You walk out to the forest, you pick the fruit off of the trees, you eat what human beings are exposed to eat. There are springs in the forest. You can take as much clean water as possible. But this is only in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. There are places in the world where you can harness the 4 elements and get this yourself. But over here, I can walk out to the forest preserve, and there's a reason why there's no apple trees. There's no food out there. Because we want people relying on the zookeeper, on the slave master. Jesus, please help me. I don't want to go to hell. I better get with the program because my parents know better. We're going to teach them some crazy shit. And if you just stop and think for a second, it's obvious that this is a fairy tale. And none of this happened. There's no talking snakes. There's no talking donkeys. Whales, if they eat people, that person is dead. The story of the whale, Jonah was in the heart of the whale, in the center, for 3 days and 3 nights, and it's an allegory. The same thing happened to Jesus. Galatians chapter 3 says that the story of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, these things are an allegory. But we present it, in order to make a slave, we're going to present this to the people, to the child, as reality, as fact. And if you don't get in line and obey this religion, you're going to burn in hell. And that fear is the underlining foundation of everything. That's why there's churches on every corner. It's to make slaves. My name is Self. And that's how you make a slave.